exist without faith. The sovereignty of nations is less important than the brotherhood of man. These are the beliefs. Oh yeah. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs. Oh yeah. 1873. Oh yeah. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs. Come on, let's believe. These are the beliefs. Oh yeah. 1873. Economic freedom can be best won by savor and humans through a market system. Circle the intended rights of man. Governments are instituted among men, and they derive their powers from the consent, acquiescence in silence of the God. Purpose of business and human life is to serve humanity. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs of the 1873. These are the beliefs. Oh, these are the beliefs. These are the beliefs of the 1873. The rules of law more important than the rules of man. Life has no meaning and purpose without faith in the Creator. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs of the 1873. These are the beliefs. Oh, these are the beliefs. These are the beliefs of the 1873. These are the beliefs. Oh, these are the beliefs. These are the beliefs of the 1873. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs of the 1873. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs of the 1873. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs. These are the beliefs of the 1873.
Well, that was a trick titled Beliefs, spelling out the values of the 1873 network. And yes, if you just tuned in, thank you for making the 1873 FM your channel of choice. And to those who would also want to be part of the conversation, yes, the link is shared on Facebook. The link is also shared on LinkedIn. The link is shared on YouTube. If you follow the 1873 FM, that is on YouTube as well as on Facebook, so you can be part of the conversation as we are wait for Mr. Enver Adams to also join the conversation. You are more than welcome to also be part of the conversation on the 1873 FM so that you can be able to just share your story this morning with our listeners, with our viewers. And talking about the track that I played earlier, beliefs, spelling out the values of the 1873 network. If you want to know more of the values of the 1873 network, simply go to www.the1873network.org. On the page on About Us, you will find the values of the 1873 network. And I do hope that you as an individual, you'll be also intrigued in as far as engaging in conversation about the what ought to actually unite us, particularly when you look at the aspect of values, whether it is values that ought to unite us or something else. What do you think actually ought to unite us as we continue with the power of storytelling? And if you can just share your story of some of the associations, some of the networks that you belong to, what values mean to you and how they are fundamental in bringing people or from diverse backgrounds together. And just looking at the aspect of values, when I look at the values of the 1873 network, the first value, we believe that all we believe that all men are created equal and they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, the right to life, the right to liberty, the right to a pursuit of happiness. And the individual is a driver of change. So wherever you happen to be as an individual, you happen to be the driver of change that you want to see. So you have to invest in that change that you want to see. And investing in that change also entails you just being able to share your story, and in doing so it will inspire many others when they get to know of the things that you happen to be doing right now in order to secure the future that you want. Yes, we are now joined by Munya Shonayi, as well as Stanley Dube, who is the manager of the 1873 network. Munya, a wonderful morning to you, and thank you so much for making time to be on the 1873 FM this morning so that you can just be able to share with us your story. You mentioned earlier that you happen to be one of the individuals who wants to be a pioneer, but because of your geographical location, you have not been able to sign up and make the payment that you also want to make towards your membership subscription. Talk to us, just share with us the challenges that you went through, as we are also joined by Stanley, who is working in the background in as far as sorting out that issue.
Thank you very much. I've been following this program or the platform, and I'm really inspired, and I wanted to be part of it. But my challenge, became how to pay. I used my debit card, I used my PayPal. I'm in the United States, based in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
But, it couldn't be processed. They say, the currency could not be accepted in the country, the receiving country, which is South Africa. So I don't know if there's anything that can be done so that, US dollars can be converted, on your platform into rand.
Right. Okay. Let's we're glad that we are also joined by Stanley Dube, also known as MC Wildfire, so that he can also be able to share with us and with our listeners, with our viewers, especially the challenge that you are encountering, because he happens to be one individual who's very much well versed with these technical issues. So MC Wildfire, wonderful morning to you, and thank you for joining us this morning on the 1873 FM.
Good morning, Tinashe. Good morning, Munya.
Good morning.
Right.
Yes.
Your technical issue, Munya, has been noted. It's something that I'm actually currently working on. In the next hour or two, you should be able to process your payments. It had something to do with our payment gateway system that we're using. So we're just changing that. So in the next hour or two, you'll be able to process your payment.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so
I might not be able to just do in the next 1 or 2 hours, because
yes.
right now, it's 1:04 a.m. So, it's just because I'm so interested. That's why I'm still awake. It's so late. It's in the morning.
Oh no,
I haven't
thank you.
slept yet. But I'm
Munya-
following this. I have so much interest. So
Yeah.
I'm charged. I'm pumped up.
Yeah.
I'm following every day, especially when I see Mr. Mawere, and his teachings.
Yeah.
If you could go to my Facebook page, my wall, you will
Yes.
find that I've had a video that I had, not because I was trying to campaign, but just because I was inspired. And I was actually, going mad, about our youngsters that are always attracted to people who dance naked and refuse to listen to information for free, information that people pay for. When you go to university, you pay for this kind of information. But here you are just being given for free. But people don't want. Even now, if you look, we find maybe one, two, three, four, five people listening to this information. But so you would love to pay something that you can get for free. And yet, if there was somebody dancing naked here on this platform, there will be thousands of people, watching and putting loves and likes and something like that.
But
So that was,
that shows the kind of society that we live in, and it's up to you and me to just continue do what we do, and everybody else would catch up. Like you said, it's vital information that is being shared on the platform, and not a lot of people are following it. But you'll be surprised that you and I doing what we're doing right now, the history will always remember us, and somewhere, somehow, somebody will be able to watch this after we are long gone or after the broadcast has ended. So let's not tire from sharing our stories, sharing information that is vital. And yeah, we are doing our bit. Bit by bit, we will reach the intended goal, which is to share as much information as possible on a daily basis.
thank you very much. I
Yeah.
appreciate, yeah, really, as long as you said you have a look into it, and I'm inspired because it means, you don't just say things that you don't do. Now
Yes.
I'm really touched that some people are really concerned and they are looking into it, and things will be smooth, I believe.
No, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. So, otherwise, thank you so much, Amunya. Mina, I have to step out and make sure that everything is running smoothly on the other end.
Even me, let me step out now because I just wanted to say
Yeah.
hello, how are you doing?
No, thank you.
Thank you so much, Munya. I'm actually also inspired that at 4 a.m. you're actually up and you're following these conversations. Now I know that I also have to step up. And if Munya is up at 4 a.m., I also have to be up at 3 a.m.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you have yourself a lovely day, Feather.
Thank you. Bye
Okay,
bye.
goodbye for now. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you
The
can
one
get
is
me out.
this is the Sunday Express morning show on your platform that is the 1873 FM, where
Help
we
me
have these open,
to
frank, and honest conversations. Great to know that
help me to drop
there are
me out.
individuals who follow these conversations, who actually go out of their way to be able just to listen to individuals who are just sharing their stories, who are sharing their personal experiences, who are also sharing insights, and this is what makes a difference at the end of the day. Just those little actions of sharing whatever that it is that you have to share with others, and just showing up for one's time. To imagine that one can actually wake up at 4 a.m. and say, I want to tune into the 1873 FM, because if I tune into the 1873 FM, I know that I will learn something, and whatever that I will learn from the conversations that take place or from the individuals' experiences shared is also going to uh, help me advance myself in whatever I do. And thanks to individuals like Munya, who in doing something also help us identify what needs ought to also be rectified, such that when it comes to you as an individual, when you also want to be part of the platform, in as far as just signing up and being able to pay your membership subscription, that process can be actually be smoothened. So yes, thanks to also MC Wildfire for joining us this morning, just to share that this challenge that had been encountered by Munya is being resolved. And yes, we will definitely hear a letter from Wildfire DJ once that challenge has been resolved. So as we continue on the 1873 FM with the conversations that matter, particularly the power of storytelling. Feel free to also be a part of the conversation by simply clicking on the link that has been shared on the various social media platforms. And as we continue, let's quickly go on a short break. Keep it locked on your channel of choice, the 1873 FM, your voice, your power. Good morning to Gerard Matonodze. Good morning, Takunda Keith Mahachi. Good morning, Kamada Joven. Glad to know that you are following and you are loving these conversations that are taking place on the 1873 FM. On that note, sounds of the 1873 United Artists with a track titled Pulling My Wagon.
What is life? What is time? What's a burden when I know the dream is mine? A journey, a feeling, turn my weakness into strength. I need a sign. Time has no end. Time has no eyes. But if you listen, you will see. We all need a dream to breathe. If you listen, you will see. We all need a dream to breathe. Pulling my wagon. Pulling my wagon. Like the birds need air to soar, like the soil needs rain to pour. Pulling my wagon. What is life? What is time? How it's spent is a choice. Inevitable is the climb. Born of the black soil, reaching for the stars. When it's over, our medals are our stars.
Pulling my wagon, you got your wagon too. Pulling my weight just to do what I have to do. Time has no eyes and no ears too. If you're on my wagon, you are a burden too. I am the engineer, I have to build the bridge. Nobody is to blame if I don't reach it. Madiba and Butch Lewis taught us these lessons. Being able to pull your own wagon, that's a blessing.
Time has no end. Time has no eyes. But if you listen, you will see. We all need a dream to breathe. If you listen, you will see. We all need a dream to breathe.
Pulling my wagon, you pull your wagon too. Pulling my wagon, you pull your wagon too.
Like the birds need air
Like
to
the
soar,
birds.
like the soil needs rain
Like
to
the
pour.
sun.
Pulling my
Pulling my
wagon.
wagon, you pull your wagon too.
Roger. Frequency modulation engaged. Resume worldwide music stream in 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Здравствуй.
Shalom. Bonjour.
สวัสดีこんにちは
What's up, world? Good songs.
Day long.
Number one.
Most awesome thing ever.
This is
One of the coolest stations in the world.
1873. 1873.
What kind of Africa do you want to be part of?
What a question. Thank you so much for that question. I'd like to see a well-developed country. Each and every African country must be well-developed. We must be able to do business without depending on Europe or all the other countries that we now depend on. I'd like to see an Africa that is peaceful. You look at it currently, we're struggling with wars, instability, and all sorts of other challenges, economic challenges, for example, which is a big problem.
That was Mr. Anelio, the president of Zim SA Forum.
Tanash Ampasari with the Africa I Want on www.the1873fm.com.
Well, it's the Santon Express morning show with your host, Tinashe Mpasire. Glad if you are still tuned in and following the conversations that are taking place on the 1873 FM this morning. And right about now, as we continue in search of the future, I want the power of storytelling. Joined in conversation by Enver Adams. Enver, a wonderful morning to you, and thank you so much for giving up time to be on the 1873 FM this morning.
Good morning, Tanash, and to all the listeners. It's lovely to be here and to listen in on your radio conversation.
Well, it is indeed a pleasure to have you. And first and foremost, congratulations are in order for the recent appointment as CEO of it's ISC Networks, Inc.
That's correct.
Well,
thank you very much.
You are very much welcome. So you have been following the conversation that has been taking place this morning on the 1873 FM, particularly when you talk of in search of the future. I want the power of storytelling. So right about now, I just want to allow you, Enver, just to tell your story as to who is Enver Adams, and more importantly, this new role that you have been recently appointed to as Chief Executive Officer of ISC Networks. What is IC Networks? What is it that the IC Network does? And more importantly, your role as a Chief Executive Officer of this company.
Thank you, Tanash, for giving me this opportunity. Tanash, just to give you a brief overview of my history, my first passion in the working industry, as say, would be hospitality. That was my first initial passion. I ventured into hospitality studies. I went abroad overseas. I came back to South Africa. And when I came back to South Africa, I found it very difficult to find that leash in that market, especially for a person of color to enter into that field. It was very difficult. So I opted to change my direction and apply the field of study that I had studied into a different field. And I was fortunate enough to get into logistics. When I started in logistics, I started off as what one would call a normal general worker. Mm-hmm. And I eventually progressed and applied myself. And I remember one of my lecturers telling me, Enver, you need to steal with your eyes. You need to learn as much as you can, study and get a qualification, whatever field you're in, you are always learning. And wherever you go, you will learn something new from somebody, irrespective. As it could be even a small 6-year-old child that could be telling you something and giving you a different perspective and different point of view. It's how you perceive it and how you take it on, and that gives you power and knowledge. And I took that to heart, and I literally embraced that way of life. And I moved on from one company over to the next, which actually led me to where I am now. And my idea and my philosophy is to change the idea of what the FMCG and logistic industry is in South Africa currently. To be honest with you, the Black BEE perspective of the business is overlooked. It's not taken seriously. And I want to give the Black business owner a chance or platform to actually grow their business, because this industry all works specifically on networking. It's very much a
Absolutely.
networking industry, and it's about who you know, and what knowledge you can impart on to the next person. So I want to give these guys a platform to say, okay, all right, I'm here, I'm going to join you. Let's try and change how things are operating, and let's try and build South Africa to where it should be. And that is my objective right now.
Mm. Wow, that's very interesting that you mentioned that at the end of the day, your objective is to build South Africa to where it should be right now. So, if we just to look at that aspect alone as to where South Africa should be right now, where do you think South Africa ought to be right now, and how best do you think that we can be able to get there?
South Africa has a wealth of knowledge. And the sad thing is that it it is not networked correctly. A lot of South Africans like to put another company or another person down. There is no support structure, real support structure. As much as there is the normal the normal NGOs or government providers that are trying to help the businesses, they aren't really supporting the businesses. I've seen a lot of businesses, well, in the agricultural sector, where government have gone in to try and support the small NGO, well, the small businesses, and 6 or 3 months later, those businesses fail because they're not getting the proper support structure and they're not getting the proper networking right. The businesses need a platform where they're able to network with each other and give support with each other. For instance, let me just give you an example. So
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing right now is a perfectly beautiful idea of the direction where we need to be going. For instance, I'm here saying, okay, I'm here to offer you my facilities, and I'm offering you my support. Um, the thing is, whoever's listening needs to impart that knowledge onto someone who they know also needs that information. Don't only keep it to yourself. It's not about keeping it all to yourself and trying to
Mm-hmm.
build wealth for yourself. And think that's what's the biggest problem, is that a lot of small businesses think, okay, if I impart knowledge or information onto the next person, that means that I'm going to be limiting myself, or that person is going to become my competition, which is in actual retrospect, it's incorrect. What actually happens is that you build a much stronger network by 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 embracing with each other, and then that network becomes much stronger. The person that you imparted that knowledge to will eventually impart their knowledge to you, and in a sense you will grow as well, and that is where we need to go.
Well, I like one word that you continue using, which has caught my attention. That word is network. And when you look at this word alone, and as far as it's concerned, it's all about individuals being connected, individuals coming together for a common or a shared interest. But you find that many a times as individuals, like you mentioned earlier, is that we are not networked properly, correctly. That's one aspect that you raised. So my observation that I've made is also that many a times as individuals, when it comes to this aspect of building these networks, or building these associations, building these clubs where we can be able to share knowledge, where we can be able to also just exchange experiences, is that all too often the support from the members who are part of the network is minimal, in the sense that all too often we want free things, we want free freebies, we want free rides. We don't actually want to pay for the sustenance of that particular network or that association. Is it something that you have also observed as an individual that also is contributing to these networks not being able to be more sustainable in as far as delivering that promise of a more connected South Africa when it comes to individuals, whether it's in business or any other sector?
Okay, Tanash, I think that at the end of the day, some of the networks actually go into doing what they do with the wrong objective. Um, the main thing that any business wants to operate in is obviously to manage their bottom line. Like most businesses. But I think if you're a network that is going to be taking funds from who's ever joining, that is actually not a network. There is no support structure. That is just, for me, I view it on a personal note, I view that well, as a Ponzi scheme. If you a network that is able to provide support in the sense of giving information or imparting knowledge that you have and able to respond, it might not necessarily be the information that you are looking for, but you are able to impart some knowledge, then I think that is beneficial. I also think that whoever joins a network should be willing and be prepared to give some knowledge or some contribution towards the network as well. It can't be only the person that has developed the network or the infrastructure that is working around that network. It needs to be a community effort, and it can only be done by Ubuntu, in the sense of Ubuntu. That's the way I see it.
Mm. I just want to go back to something that you shared earlier on the earlier video that was recorded. That you're looking at, being connected to other individuals who happen to be in the logistics or the transport business, particularly black-owned businesses. What sort of opportunities are available for these individuals who you are looking at also working with?
Okay, so Tanash, my clientele that I'm working with currently right now are quite big. I can't name them because of trading rights. But what I can say is that it's going to open up a very big platform for them and going to give them an opportunity to actually do business on a much bigger scale. They are a very, to put it in a few words, they are a few businesses within the industry that are literally monopolizing the industry. They are not giving chance for the smaller businesses to come in. And what's happening is that the larger businesses are taking over and saying, okay, we want to increase our BE score because, as you know, the direction that we are going in as a country is that we are focusing specifically to try and empower the small businesses and obviously Black empowerment and build that. So what the businesses are doing is they are saying, okay, so we are not reaching our target in terms of our BE scoring. So they are signing on small businesses to partner with them. And what's happening is these small businesses get sidelined and they don't actually get to see the profits that they should be seeing. And that is the sad part. And these businesses are able to get much bigger clientele, which the smaller businesses are not able to get because they don't have the big network or the support structure to say, we are able to come into your business or to your FMCG group and say to you, okay, I can provide you a network of plus minus 4,000 trucks available nationally, or to do smaller runs at a frequent rate. And that is the problem that the industry is facing right now. And it's sad because you see, well, I've noticed that I've seen a lot of the same companies grab the same tenders, basically. And the smaller guys are really being sidelined. You will not be able to enter the network or enter the infrastructure of logistics if you don't actually combine and say work as one and say, listen, we might be a small company, but we are bigger being together, and we can work together to get this done. And that is the only way to do it.
Interesting. And so, I mean, when you look at the logistics value chain, when it comes to the issue of just expenses, you find that fuel is one of the major expenses in the logistics value chain. And when you look just at that component alone, what percentage of the expenditure does it make if we're to look at fuel alone?
Okay, so fuel does play a bigger role. Like I said, the businesses, the larger companies are able to purchase fuel at a much cheaper rate than the normal businesses. If you were to combine and merger with another company and grow that business, then your buying perception is now, your buying power is stronger. What you're
That's it.
basically doing Yes, what you're basically doing is you are saying to the bigger companies, listen, I might be smaller, but I can still operate at the same level and the same scale that you are operating at. And that's how you're able to compete. The bigger guys will go in and they'll say, listen, we're going to buy trillions of diesel, and you're going to come in and you can't really afford. If you're a small business and you're trying to buy a few tons of oil, it's not going to really make an impact on your business. There's no saving. Your bottom line is not really being affected. When you network with everybody else, then you're able to bring down all those costs, and you're able to compete with all these other big guys. And all these other big guys, that's what they are doing.
So as the 1873 FM, we have an initiative that we are powering. It's called Banking on Africa's Future, 10,000 Points of Lights. And through this initiative, what we seek to do as members of the 1873 network is also build this community of 10,000 names of individuals. And within this community, individuals that happen to be in the logistics value chain, being able to build, to leverage on one another in as far as just a procurement of fuel is concerned. And what we have within the community is also a fuel price challenge, whereby we're saying, okay, for those who happen to be in the logistics value chain, who happen to be transporters that require fuel, what price are they buying fuel at the moment? And then we can also be able to look at the individuals who happen to be on the supply side of fuel to say, okay, we have so much individuals within this bank of ours who require so many liters of fuel on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and to have this price challenge whereby they can be able to procure that fuel at a better price. So that being said, as far as the fuel challenge is concerned, is it something that you think that at the end of the day, for those players who happen to be in the logistics value chain, it's something that could be of benefit for them?
I think it definitely would be. And then I've also noticed that in terms of fuel, fuel is the direction of fuel is changing. A lot of the companies are moving. Well, the smarter companies are moving to the biofuel suppliers. It might seem odd, but in the longest perspective, it does last longer, and it's also much cheaper, well, viably. So I definitely think it would be beneficial to anybody.
So, in as far as the Banking on Africa's Future 10,000 Points of Lights community is concerned, can I then add you as my nominee to this community that we seek to be marching towards each day, the community of 10,000 individuals who are connected and through the shared experiences and insights are able to inspire new thinking, new outcomes, and new possibilities?
Yes, you're more than welcome, Tanash. I'll be honored.
Well,
Thank you.
I'm very much excited to add you to this bank of ours. And your Banking on Africa's Future ID number is BOAF 639. So BOAF being the acronym for Banking on Africa's Future, and 639 being your number in this bank towards the 10,000 individuals.
Well, it's been a pleasure being on your radio show. And I hope that I could impart some knowledge and be beneficial to somebody out there listening.
Well, it's been a very interesting conversation with you. And yes, I do actually have a comment from somebody who's also listening who said that this is inspiring what you are sharing at the end of the day. So, yes, I'm glad that I've also learned something from this conversation that we are having. And more importantly, knowing that by just sharing, it enables us as individuals to access opportunities that ordinarily we would not be able to access if we actually don't share anything.
That's very true, Tanash. And you know, this principle doesn't only apply only to the supply chain and logistics network and industry. It also applies to other businesses as well. And I really hope that I would love to see a lot of these small businesses networking and giving support to each other and actually growing.
Absolutely. I also look forward to that. And more importantly, I look forward to deepening and broadening these conversations so that at the end of the day, we all play our part in securing the kind of South Africa that we all want collectively.
That's it. That's the goal.
Well, Enver, on that note, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing with us this morning on the 1873 FM Sandton Express Morning Show.
Thank you so much, Tanash, for having me.
Okay, goodbye for now.
Okay, bye.
Well, so that was Enver Adams, who is CEO of ISC Networks Inc., whom we're having a conversation with. Who was just sharing with us his story, his experiences, and more importantly, in as far as the role that he is playing in the logistics value chain. So yes, if you also would love to share your story on the 1873 FM this morning, feel free to be able to reach out through our social media platforms, and definitely we'll actually send you the link so that you can be able to join and be part of the conversation. On that note, let's quickly go on a short break. Keep it locked on your channel of choice. The sounds of the 1873 United Artists with a track titled "I Changed the World," coming up shortly.
From 1873 to present, and introspect to your heritage.
Can we say behind every successful woman is a lazy nigga? I don't know. What do you say?
No, definitely not. I think behind every successful woman is another successful woman.
Oh, I like that.
I definitely think that women look out for each other. There's a misconception that we're always attacking each other or something. I definitely think that we do tend to look after each other.
Definitely.
One piece of advice I always give to young people is that they need to understand how finances work.
Empowering the mind. Enriching the nation. 1873 FM.
Diverse human ecosystem. There is more that unites us and not divides us. Oh yeah. Democracy alone cannot deliver the true purpose of life. Gotta be the change you wanna see.
See me talking to the man in the mirror.
procrastinating. We see people deferring to others to be the change. Yet we all know that any motion requires causation. Yeah. Oh. Without human action, history will always be a straight line. It's me and you who write history by bending it with action. Whoa, yeah. To the man in the mirror, you gotta be the change you want to see. You gotta be the change you want to see. To see. Be the change you want to see. We can change the world. We can change the world. We can change the world. I know that. Make it a better. Oh, it starts with you and me. We can change the world. Be the change. Let us be as engineers, drivers, character and personality. Start by doing the little things that gives character and personality. Because history never lies, it tells your story. History is shaped and defined by individual actions. Mandela is not remembered for threats, but his courage and determination and actions too. Gandhi said, be the change, and we as the 1873 network say that change begins with me and you. See me talking to the man in the mirror.
1873.
I know leadership exists, but now my co-host over here, we now need to convince him. He doesn't believe that leaders exist. He doesn't believe leadership does exist. And anytime someone says they are a leader, he asks for their address because he always says, where can I find this leader? What is this leader's address? How do we convince him that leaders do indeed exist?
You don't feel that you must be the first person to do it, but there's always somebody who will say, okay, let me take an example, let's write what we need to do here, where do we need to start. There's always that person who will facilitate for people to problem solve. And I think for me, initially, those are the small attributes of being a leader.
It starts with us, and we are the us. Always ready to learn. Tune into 1873 FM, your voice, your power.
Indeed, it starts with us, and I am the us. So I'm always ready to learn from other individuals' experiences, other individuals' insights, and more importantly, just to exchange ideas in as far as shaping and defining the character and personality of the future I want, the future that we all want collectively. So as we continue this morning in search of the future I want, the power of storytelling. Joining me in conversation, I happen to be joined by Ronnie Masilela. Ronnie, wonderful morning to you, and thank you for giving up time to be on the 1873 FM this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, and a very good morning to you and to all the listeners.
Well, it is indeed a pleasure to have you, and glad to know that you have been following the morning show on the 1873 FM. And yes, you find these conversations insightful, you find these conversations inspiring. But before we get deeper into this morning's conversation, maybe if you could just briefly share with our listeners, with our viewers. Unfortunately, they cannot be able to see your face. Who is Ronnie Masilela? What is it that he does? And just for you to share your story, Ronnie.
Thank you so much. Ronnie Masilela goes by the name of Ron Mas. I am based in Nelspruit in Mpumalanga province.
I am an inspirational speaker or motivational speaker, as well as a business coach, a certified coach. I am an MBA degree, and I have my interest in small business development. In the Mpumalanga province, we started the annual Mpumalanga Business and Investor Seminar, which we host every year. This is the second year of hosting it. And the main aim is to see young small businesses develop, start, grow, and sustain their businesses, profitable businesses. So basically, those are the key things that Ronema Slera or Ronmas is doing in the province of Mpumalanga, as well as other places where I get invited to come and speak about life in general and business-related topics.
So, if you were just to share, from your, if you were just to share, just from this morning, the conversation that you were following earlier on, well, what would you have to share with the people out there?
Okay, what I have picked, or what one can add or share, is that I have come to realize that action is the single thing that's very difficult to do on planet Earth. Action. The thing is, we can spend a lot of time attending workshops, seminars, reading books, and things like that. But I normally say that a building plan does not build a house, but a person who acts and follows a plan then builds the house. So what this means is that after everything that we have had this year, 2019, and everything that we wish to do, those things will never do themselves. And the things cannot happen by themselves. They still need a person to do something. A lot of us are waiting for money or funding, big amounts of money before we start our work. A lot of us want to be perfect before we start our work. There is no person who's perfect here on earth, and there will never be. So I want to encourage any listener to say, you don't have to be perfect for you to start. You need to start and perfect along the way. That's why there's that, I think it's a proverb or something that says, practice makes perfect. Whatever that one practices, they will be perfect at it. So I'm encouraging each one of us here in South Africa and beyond to say, we must begin to start, no matter how small the idea is, but let us start, it will be refined and perfected along the way. Action is the master key, and action delivers things to people. If after saying it, after writing it, we now need to put it into action.
I like that. I like what you're actually raising, that action is what is required. At the end of the day, we can talk and talk and talk, but talking won't bring any results. But what is going to actually bring a result is the action that one takes, whether it is a small step that one makes, it makes a difference. Those little steps, when combined, they make a huge difference. Something that you raised earlier also was the Banking on Africa's Future 10,000 points of lights, that you are very much interested in being part of this community of 10,000 individuals under the banner Banking on Africa's Future. In that regard alone, if you were to just share what you have come to understand from the conversation that we're having with Munya Shonai when you raised that, what would you share with those who are in your circle, particularly as far as the Banking on Africa's Future 10,000 points of light is concerned?
What one can say is that we come with different things as individuals. We do need each other. We complement one another. We don't have to compete or to kill one another, but we need to work side by side. So the impact, the need is quite huge. Some would say the harvest is vast, but the laborers are few. Hence, there's serious need on my part to join the 10,000 influencers in Africa, people who will make things happen, who will make it easy for people to be able to start, make it easy for people to be able to grow and have something on the table at the end of the day. So I present myself, offer myself and my services to learn, number one, and to share the few or the little that I have, so that we can have the better Africa that we like to have going forward.
I like what you've just said, to learn and more importantly, to share. And this is what this platform is all about, to encourage individuals to share their personal experiences and more importantly, to learn from other individuals' experiences. So your BOF identity number is BOAF 640.
Okay.
Yes.
Please say that again.
It's BOAF 640. That's your BOF identity number.
Okay.
Towards
so
the
much.
10,000. So you can also visit, to sign up, you can visit www.the1873network.org. That's where you can be able to sign up on our, to be part of, to sign up on our platform.
Great stuff.
Yes.
I'll definitely do that soon after this call.
Well, Ronnie, thank you so much for your time. Thank you just for sharing your story. But before I let you go off, your last words to our listeners this morning, what would be your last words?
My last words would be, time is a limited resource, but everyone has it. How it is used will determine who becomes what. We can generate more wealth, but we cannot generate more time. Let us use the time, the limited time that we have, very wisely and effectively, making sure that we are spending it only with people who are getting ahead, and we are not drained, but we are equipped with each association that we have.
Wow, that's really profound. Thank you so much, Ronnie. You have yourself a lovely day further.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, goodbye for now.
Okay, man. Bye-bye.
So that was Ronnie Masilela. Yes, something that is really profound that you mentioned, that time is a limited resource. So at the end of the day, it's up to you. And it's a limited resource, but each and every individual has it. We all have 24 hours in a day, but it's up to the individual how you use your 24 hours in the day in order for you to get ahead. So yes, good morning to you, Farai Chitambira. Good morning, Musindo Lakson. Good morning, Michael Matobe. Glad to know that you are also following this conversation this morning on the 1873 FM, and I do hope that you are also finding it insightful, you're also finding it inspiring, and wherever you happen to be, as long as you're following the show, feel free to also share the videos with many others on your social media platforms. So yes, this is your platform for sharing. This is also your platform for learning. I'm always ready to learn from your experiences. I'm also ready to learn from your insights. And yes, when one is better equipped, they can be able to inspire new thinking, new outcomes, and new possibilities. On that note, to all those who made a date with us on the 1873 FM, continue tuning in with the 1873 FM as we bring you more insightful, more informative programming. And make sure that you tell a friend to also follow the 1873 FM. That is on Facebook as well as Twitter. And on that note, it is goodbye from me, International University, the rest of the crew behind the scenes. Really looking forward to catching up with you later. All right. On that note, as we sign out, sounds of the 1873 United Artists with the track titled, one of the 1873 United Artists with the track titled Spinning Plates. Yes, Spinning Plates.
Oxland Beats.
You should be waking up early, sleeping late, working hard to be really great, cause we all make mistakes, but never run an unfinished race. Ignore distractions, focus on the actions that'll get you to that winning place. Priorities, people, talents, goals, balance those like spinning plates. Spinning plates, yeah, spinning plates, yeah. If you drop it, it breaks, yeah. If you lose it, it breaks. Life's like spinning plates, yeah. Spinning plates, yeah. If you drop it, it breaks, yeah. Don't stop or it breaks, yeah. Spin those plates like a circus trick. Find out what your purpose is. You were put on this